For this episode, we will just be chatting about our education benefits. We decided to go live on YouTube when we usually do our veteran podcast or our veteran workshops. And we just decided to talk about the education benefits that may be getting reduced or cut for active duty service members and basically taking advantage of them and the ability to use them as best they can while they're in service, while also maintaining and taking advantage of their GI Bill after service when they're veterans. Let's have a chat. So not being able to give people the ability to obtain their education, I think, is a big issue because of the fact that it's just like, all right, now you're limiting the ability or the availability for people to get their degrees. Me, I was able to get my degree through Fort Hays State University, and I didn't pay out of pocket for it. I used TA. It took me some time. I was able to get because what was it? Fort Hays allowed me to do that, but then also AMU, American Military University, also allowed you to do that also, where they made it that when you took classes, the credit hours was based off of what the Army would provide or what tuition assistance would provide. So they made it so that you are able to use that benefit within the military while you're serving, because it's like, okay, the Army will pay this amount per credit. American Military University would do that and would give you that amount per credit. So that way you had, okay, I could take these courses, but it doesn't cut into my actual tuition assistance, and I don't got to pay out of pocket. AMU also provides you with the textbooks and everything is free. So basically, you weren't paying out of pocket if you were getting your education through them. You were just paying using your tuition assistance, which it was just going to your installation office, registering for the class, registering for the school, letting them know you're using the TA to pay for this, and you were able to get your bachelor's degree or your master's degree. I was able to help with my bachelor's degree by doing classes. I ended up transferring to Fort Hays State University, which was also a class and a school that they paid for, and I was able to obtain my bachelor's degree from there. So there is availability to do that, and there is the chances and the resources available to service members while they're in service to get these degrees. Now, the accreditation assistant is the same thing. You're getting accreditations, you're getting credentials on certain things, whether it be management, whether it be all these things. It's free, basically, because you're getting $4,000 a year to get credentialing assistance. Now, the changes that may be incoming or the budget cuts that they're trying to do are basically making it that you can only get $4,000 for your whole career. So now, keep that in mind with credentialing assistance. If you were to join the military, let's say year 1, and go all the way to year 20, that's $80,000 worth of credentialing assistance that you would be able to get if you had $4,000 per year. So basically, it was $4,000 per year, but no cap as to how much and how many times you used it. So if you used 2,000 one year, 2,000 the next, you'd be fine. Or 4,000 one year, 500 the next, you would still be able to use it, and you would still be obtaining free credentialing, free credit courses or free classes that you could take. Tuition assistance, they haven't notified and they haven't stated exactly, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're taking out, this is what y'all need to pay attention to. So that's something that people need to realize that hasn't changed, and they haven't mentioned what those changes are going to be. So that, I think, is the scarier part, because the thing is that tuition assistance, more people use. For the number of people we have in the armed forces, not enough people use it. So I think that's one of the reasons why I think when they say budget cuts or reduction and stuff, they go, hey, might as well take away from the education budget because service members ain't using it enough. So that's where it's like you have to put that out to service members like, hey, y'all need to use this benefit. This benefit is out there for you. You can get free classes done. I understand it's not something that you can do all the time. You're not going to be able to take a full semester, basically. I did it, and trust me, that was one of the hardest semesters of my life. Well, to graduate, I took, I think it was 4 classes that semester while on active duty, while being a platoon sergeant. That was tough. I was stressed out. I was doing a lot, but I didn't have to pay for it. So that was one of the big things. I did not have to pay for any of that. I earned my degree by getting the Army to pay for it. Most service members do not understand that and don't know, like, hey, you need to know this. You need to go and check what you have available to you, what benefits you have available to you to use them. Because if you can get a free degree, there's no beating that. And you don't have to use your GI Bill. So the thing that's more beneficial about tuition assistance is that you can use and actually get your degree while you're in the military. Then once you get out, or which another thing that most people don't realize is the taking away of the benefit to transfer your benefits to your spouse or your dependents or your kids. That's a 4-year requirement, and that's something I think that needs to change. That, I think, is one of the biggest drawbacks that I like. For me, it was just like, so for me to transfer my GI Bill, even though I got my bachelor's degree through the Army, I would have to give up or sign up for another 4 years to do that. I think that's something that they should include once a person re-enlists. So most people do that one contract and get out, right? So why not make it that when you sign that next contract, that counts towards your time of being able to transfer? So let's say you do another contract, however long it is, that counts towards that 4 years you signed up. So now after 2 contracts, so basically if you signed up 3 times, 3 contracts, you're able to transfer it over with no stipulations, no red tape or anything like that. That goes, I think, a lot farther with you being able to get a free education by joining. But now if you make that stipulation as like, hey, you're not going to earn this unless you give me another 4 years. Most people are like, look, I did 10. So you want me to do 14 in order for me to be able to transfer a benefit that I earned to give to my family member. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. But I did take advantage of tuition assistance to get my bachelor's degree while I was in. Now I am currently using my GI Bill to get my master's degree. So that's something that people don't understand and need to realize, that is like you can take advantage of getting a free degree while you're in service. And even if you don't do a lengthy career or a lengthy bunch of contracts while in service, even if you do one contract, let's say your 4-year, remember it's an 8-year obligation when you join. Whatever time you do active, it's 8 years. No matter what, you're in for 8 years. Thing is you have your active duty time, and then you have your inactive reserve time. So basically, if you do your 8 years active duty, you don't have to worry about the reserve time. But if you do 4 years active duty and something pops off and they need to call you back, you going back. And people don't understand that. But within that 4-year period, if you decide to take at least one class each semester, TA pays for it. You don't have to worry about it. From there, you are at least getting those core classes out from your GI Bill. 4 years, you take 4 classes. Well, no, that would be 8 classes you can take. That's a good amount of classes. That's 24, times 3, 8 times, that's 24 credits that you can do, that you can basically get out electives if you want to, or some of the core classes that you need before you get to actual university. So now when you go to use your GI Bill, you're not spending your whole GI Bill, because the GI Bill gives you 36 months, and they go month by month and they calculate the days and everything, and that's how you get your BAH. That's how you get your housing stipend, your book stipend, because they will give you a prorated amount. I think it's $1,000 per year that you get for books. Then you get your housing stipend. The housing stipend depends on where your school is at. So if you're in like the state of New York, you are going to get like about 3,800 a month. I can't check. I gotta check because I know it's gone up, but it's basically the housing allowance, and it goes off of the cost of living of where your school zip code is located. So here I'm in Kansas. I think my BAH is $1,100 a month, and that's something that gets put on top of it. But I'm doing it for my master's. My master's degree is only going to take me 2 years to complete. So now I still have a whole nother year to use my GI Bill to try to get something else. I can get certification. I could get a graduate certificate of the case, and that's through the GI Bill. But that allows me to do that because I took my bachelor's and I got it while I was on active duty. Most people don't realize that with that active duty, like that, the ability to go to school and not have to pay for it is something that, as you can see, look at the big hoopla that's going on about just college loans. Like, most people go to school, they have a crazy amount of college loans, and they don't have the ability to pay it off right away. Why? Because they try to get into a job, and then that job doesn't even pay them for what they actually learned to do or studied. So that's why it's hard for people to even fathom, like, damn, I'm going to join the military. I could join the military. I could get school paid for free, or at least get the GI Bill once I'm done with the military. Or I can go the route of going straight to college and then have these loans I have to take out, then try to get a job and do it that way. So it's two differing things. And the most essential thing is like, hey, you get a free education. Most people don't do that. Most people have to take out loans. Shit, before I joined the military, I had to take out school loans when I was first going to school. And that's because I decided instead of staying in the community college that I was there, I wanted to go to a more prestigious school because I thought it would be a bigger thing. And I went to SUNY Albany for a couple of years. I ended up owing that school for 2.5 years. What? I ain't even gonna say the number, but it's a couple of it's in the at least around $30,000. So you got people that are going to school, can't get jobs, and then owe $30,000. I owed this $30,000 before I even joined the military. But one thing that people don't understand is also when you become 100% permanent and total, that gets wiped out. So my student loans got wiped out because I am a 100% permanent and total disabled veteran. A lot of people don't know that, and that's one of the big things when it comes to being 100% P&T, that you get that. You get that waived, like your school loans are gone. The same way where it's like public servants do that when they work after like 10 years of working as a public servant. That happens. I was just speaking to one of the lecturers that we had in our class that he's working for the state right now. And he's like, I got a couple more years. And then, I meet that requirement for public service. And then my school loans will be wiped out. Because that's a lot of money that goes into those loans that you owe. And that hinders and it throws people back. But if you join the military or if you do your stuff through the military, you're not paying for that. So instead of having the necessity to pay for school for all 4 years, while you're doing your stuff in the military, you can only have to pay for maybe 3 years afterwards. But you have your GI Bill, which covers you for 36 months, which is 3 years. So literally you can get a bachelor's degree free of charge. Now that's if you choose to do that, but you don't have to use it for just a bachelor's degree. The tuition assistance, I'm not sure. I would have to double check, but I don't think it's just strictly for schools. So you can do trades like become an electrician, become a plumber, become what are the other ones? A mechanic. Those are things that will get paid for because you are getting provided that tuition assistance. So if you want to learn to do things or learn a trade or something like that, the military will help pay for that. The same way with the credentialing assistance. It's the same thing, just that with that one, it's different criteria and you get paid. You don't get paid. That's the one thing. Keep in mind, you will not get paid that housing allowance like you do with the GI Bill. Two separate things. You're going to get your GI Bill. You're going to get your allowances. You're going to get your, you're going to get the money you get through the GI Bill one way, but that's outside of service. Tuition assistance, credentialing assistance. I can't speak on too much because that one I didn't even know about till I got towards the end. Because most of the time they speak about it when you're transitioning out of the military. It was like, oh, you could do the credentialing assistance program. I was just like, oh, I didn't know you could do this throughout your military service. Most of them try to do it as like you join a pilot program or an apprenticeship with an organization. You go to that organization, they teach you up, they train you up and everything. Next thing you know, you out of the military and boom, they got an offer for you like, hey, you can work here. You can work for us. You just spent the last 6 months working and training. Now we have a job for you. You can come in, come check us out, see what's going on, and we'll give you a paycheck. You're a federal employee, and it counts towards your time in active service because it's like you can buy back the time that you did for that. So it's just like there's a large benefit to those things that service members just don't know about. They don't hear about it. Nobody gets notified as like, hey, you can get paid to, well, you're getting paid to be in the Army, but you're also getting paid by being able to go to school for free. They don't talk enough about that. And that, I think, is something that when it comes to retention levels in the military, if you tell people, hey, look, man, I know we stressing you. I know we bothering you. I know we take time away from you, but hey, look, there's this thing you can do, which is you can get yourself a associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or even work on your master's degree, and we will help pay for that. The other thing that ties into that is the fact that, like I spoke about it on the short video I made, is just like there's a lot of money being made towards that. You can take advantage of making that money because it ends up building you up after the military. If you use tuition assistance and stuff like that, that's less resources you have to worry about or less funding you have to worry about on the back end. Now, some people are going to be like, man, I ain't joining the fucking military for an education. Cool. You don't have to. But this is for the people that are already in. If you're already serving in any of the branches, you have tuition assistance to some level. Take advantage of it. At least if it's just one class, just one class a semester goes a long way. Because next thing you know, if you decide to do 20 years and you at least taking one class each semester, you don't have more than a bachelor's degree. You can have 2 bachelor's degrees. Shit, you can have a bachelor's. You can even work on your PhD while you're at it. Now, I don't think that tuition assistance covers the PhD, but GI Bill will. There, you might have to use it, but at that point, you may have 2 bachelor's degrees and an associate's, and you didn't pay for any of that. So you don't have to worry about no school loans. You don't have to worry about making payments when you get out or dealing with what's the damn big Mohela? I think Mohela is the big one that people are dealing with. Just like, hey, cancel student loans. People didn't want to cancel it. So if they would have canceled, that changes people's lives drastically. When you don't have to worry about paying for 10 years on something that is continuing to gain interest. Because that's one thing I never understood about that. It was just like, I took out a loan to go to get educated for a certain amount. I paid the amount that it was for tuition. But you're charging me interest on something like that. That's the one thing I don't understand with the school loans. Like, why is it that we are paying on these school loans and gaining interest on them? The education didn't continue to grow after I got out. I haven't seen an institution continue to try to teach anybody after they graduated. I never seen that. I never seen any interest grow on the knowledge I gained throughout that time period. So that's interesting to see. Like, that's a whole different thing. But just like having the resources there while in the military, use it. Go to school. Doesn't have to be the top school. Could be any school. Even if you have to pay out of pocket for some of the school, it is still a benefit you can use. Because some schools, tuition for one class is pretty pricey. Tuition assistance will pay up to a certain amount for credit hour, which I believe it is at 300 or 270. At least when I did mine, it was at 275. So you were able to use 275 per credit hour. And like I said, American Military University gave me that ability to do that because it gave me that exact amount. They knew the Army tuition assistance would pay 275. So their credit hours were 275, meaning they made sure, hey, you're a military service member. We're going to give you this benefit. You're not paying out of pocket for it. Plus, you don't got to worry about books. We provide all the books. Everything is digital. That's a plus there because a lot of times the amount of money you spend on books is just as much. I'm not going to say just as much as the as a semester. But damn, it's a good portion depending on what school you go to or how prestigious the school is, and the book is like super expensive. And even when you try to get the book off a rental or try to get the book in a different way, it is still expensive as shit to buy a damn book. You don't have to worry about that with certain schools. But like I said, if you're not paying for the cost of tuition or that class, that gives you the ability to go to a different school. Or hey, if you know you're going to go to a school and the credit hours maybe like 400 and you got to pay 125 per credit hour, it's still a strain on you. Yes, but you're not paying the 400 plus per class. You're still able to get your degree. And like I said, depending on what schools you go to, some of those transfer over. Keep in mind that when you're doing that education, as you go through school, military training, you can transfer those credits that some of your training transfers over as credits, as school credits. Basically, depending on what the classes are, what it is, when you go to ALC or BLC or those like NCO development courses, they give you like leadership training, developing like planning, stuff like that. I can't remember. I would have to look up my joint service transcript. And it'll highlight everything, all the classes that you've done, and it'll say like, hey, this equals to this kind of college credit. This equals to this kind of college credit. You did this is this college credit. And you can go to certain universities, and some universities accept it, some don't, which that's an issue when it comes to deciding what school you want to go to. You want to make sure you're picking the right school. You want to make sure you're picking a school that is going to take your credits and you're not going to lose any of your credits, because that's a big thing that people tend to not realize. Like, you lose a lot of credits sometimes when you're transferring over from one school to another, and you lose. That's money lost. And that's the one thing people don't. You're losing money, and that's one thing that annoys the shit out of you. It's just like, I went to this school, I paid y'all, I got this stuff, but then I want to transfer these because I want to switch to a different school. You're not gonna take the credits, so I lost out on the money I paid, and I still owe this other school, but you're not gonna count those credits. That's another big issue. That's why I went to Fort Hays State, because all the stuff I did through AMU and through my other schools, Fort Hays State took it, and I literally took like 2 semesters at Fort Hays State. Boom. It was like, hey, we just need you to do the minimum classes here at the university, graduate from it. I got ya. Did it. Tuition assistant paid for it, and I got it done. Got my bachelor's degree. Now I'm using my GI Bill to get, like I said, my master's. But there's different things that you got to pay attention to. Those are things that people don't know while they're in the military. They said over the past couple of years, there's been like 100,000 service members that have used tuition assistance. There's at least close to there's 450,000 in the Army alone. So that's only a fourth of, if you say, the service members in the Army. I'm not sure if that counts National Guard, because they have a different program. But within all the services, you only got 101,000 people. So that's why they're talking about, hey, we're going to try to get rid of this. If we have budget cuts or budget issues, this is what we're going to try to go after, because of the fact that, hey, not enough service members are using this resource. So if they ain't using it, we can cut it. And that's where we fall into that problem where it's just like, we need more service members to be aware or made aware of the fact that, hey, you can take advantage of this. You can use these benefits. Use these benefits because they're there for you. They're there for you to use. Everyone has the ability to do it. If you are a service member, you have the ability to use tuition assistance. Now, credentialing assistance, that one I have to look into more. And I suggest, hey, if the same way you're looking into tuition assistance, look into credentialing assistance, because any credentialing you get while in service is going to benefit you out of service, especially if it's something that goes with what you have in line or what you want to do in the future. Like I said, not everybody does 20 years. I think it's only like 17% of people that join the military actually retire from it. That's a small number. So the rest of the 83% that doesn't make it through all 20 years is getting out, using the GI Bill, using any resources, using the VA, using the VNR, the vocational rehabilitation and employment, figures to basically get that information and get that stuff that can provide you assistance and provide you help. Get that information, get that stuff, because that's stuff that's given to you and you earned it. You joined the military. It's available for you. I saw a friend of mine post that it was just like, man, the amount of benefits that the military offers you that nobody knows about, nobody talks about, people don't understand. It's alarming. Because the thing is most of the time it's just mission, mission, mission. And it's just like you want people to develop, you want people to enhance themselves and become better professionals. But those resources aren't always made, not that they're not made available, because they're available. They're just not readily spoken about or distributed amongst the force to know, like, hey, you can benefit from doing this. You can earn a degree for free. But people don't talk about that. People don't know about that. Most soldiers, it was just like I had to force soldiers like, hey, look, man, if y'all ain't doing nothing, I need y'all to take one class. And they were like, why would I want to take one class? It was just like, because you want to take one class just to get it done. It was just like, you plan to get a bachelor's degree, right? Or you plan to get an associate's. Why ain't you working on your class when you have the time? Like right now, we don't have no exercises or anything like that. In the next 6 months, it looks like we may have training, but it's nothing too crazy that's going to ship you away or have you away from the thing that you may not be able to go to school. And the thing is, as I said, it was just like, that's a pretty damn excuse for be like, hey, I got to go to class. I can't stay late, or I can't do this because I got to go to class. Mind you, I'm making sure you pass. But at the same time, that's a reason to be like, hey, okay, you don't have to attend this training, or you may not be able to go to the field or something because, hey, we got classwork and stuff to do. You got this that I know is due, and you've been, talking to me about it, but that doesn't work all the place. So that's why sometimes it's difficult to do that. But it's a free resource. It's free within the military. The same way when you get out of the military, GI Bill is earned and it's free. You're not paying out of pocket for it because you're just making sure you get accepted into the school, provide them the documentation and show them like, hey, this is what it is, this is what it's not. And then also as a veteran, there's certain schools that as a veteran you don't pay, or your spouse may not pay, or if you're 100% P&T, you may not pay for school. So it depends on that because they provide scholarships and stuff like that for veterans outside of school. So you can literally go while you're in the military, use tuition assistance, get your bachelor's degree or an associate's, whatever you want to do. Also get some credentialing using the credentialing assistance. I'm not sure if you can use both of them at the same time. That's something you, as a service member, you would have to make sure to check. I'll dive into it, look into it more, but that's stuff you have to look into. You just did that. You did your tuition assistance, you did your credentialing. So now you got your bachelor's while in service, you got some credentials while in service. Now you can go outside. Now you can do and use a GI Bill to train yourself even more for that profession that you want to get into. So let's say you got cybersecurity degree. You got the credentialing that you use the credentialing assistance to do. Now you can go for another master's in that same field, or you can go take some networking courses or networking classes and have GI Bill pay for it. So there's a lot of resources that people don't pay attention to and don't understand and don't see. This is like, this is something important for you to use. This is something important that you can take advantage of, and you have to take advantage of it because the military is not going to force you to do it. The military is not going to force you to take classes unless you have leaders that are like that is like, hey, I need you to sign up for school, which was one thing that my leader told me. It was like, I need you to sign up for school. I was like, look, I'm working on my master's. I need you to finish your bachelor's. Cool, got you. And work on it. Or I need you to work on your master's. I'm doing it through this school. You could take classes here. You could do this. And it's something you can do. As long as if you're going to stay in or get out, you still have the advantage to do that. So that's something you need to make sure y'all doing. Make sure you ask for any kind of benefits you can get. Recruiters know it. Career counselors know a bunch of it. Most of the time, they don't even know all the stuff, and they just keep on learning the stuff that they can obtain and the information that they can gain. But you have to ask. The military provides you with stuff, but sometimes you have to ask for it. So to get credentialing assistance or tuition assistance, you have to go to your education building or your education facility within your installation, go and ask questions. They usually have 3 or 4 schools in the installation that provide schooling or degree programs and stuff like that while you're there. I know Maryland University was one of them for me, but there's other schools that you can take, and even if it's a community colleges or colleges, you can still get a degree at a fraction of the cost or for free, and you're not paying for it, and the military is paying for it while you're already getting your paycheck for being in the military. And you do that, and like I said, once you get out of the military, you have your GI Bill, or you have the vocational and rehabilitation employment program that you can use that will pay and assist you to get even more credentialing or certificates or whatever the case may be. So that's something that people need to keep in mind, and people need to look into that they don't. There's a ton of resources that the military can provide you. You just have to know what they are. Getting a free education is something that is difficult nowadays. It's something that you are paying for. It's something that you end up paying for down the road because school loans, like I said, that's a whole different ordeal dealing with school loans. But as a veteran that is 100% P&T, you just submit your documentation to them, let them know like, hey, here you go. I'm 100% permanent and total disabled veteran. Within a couple of months, your school loans are wiped out and you don't have to worry about that. That's a big burden. That's a big relief off of anybody's shoulder if you have your school loans just completely wiped out. Keep in mind that once you have them wiped out, if you decide to go to school again and get more loans, those won't be canceled out. You're going to still owe on that. But like I said, if you already know the GI Bill is going to cover you, because that's what I did. I had mine wiped out, and the GI Bill is covering my schooling for now. I don't pay for anything. I'm still getting my master's. And if possible, I might try to get my PhD with the military and the GI being the reason they pay for it. Nowadays, you need a degree. Nowadays, you need that to get promoted. Especially within the Army, you need that to show and differentiate yourself from those peers of yours. So if you're going up against people and be like, man, this guy got a master's degree and he's a staff sergeant, that goes a long way, because that shows like, man, this guy has been trying to progress. This guy's been trying to improve. He's trying to get better. So you having that availability and you showcasing that allows you to show people like, hey, I am improving. I am doing this. This allows you to get better. This allows me to get better. But I make the armed forces better also because I have a master's degree now, or I have a bachelor's, or I'm working on my PhD. Anything of the sort where you're getting free education, it's going to benefit you while you're in service because it makes you stand out against your peers because you have college credits. Otherwise, if it weren't for that, there wouldn't be a note of it. So just keep that in mind, and we'll end it here. Appreciate y'all tuning in, but hey, get a free education while you're in the military. It goes a long way. It'll benefit you. It'll benefit those around you. Take advantage. Just Cruz, signing out. Peace.